What is drug crime defense? A comprehensive guide to drug-related criminal charges in Texas. Facing a drug-related charge in Texas can be an overwhelming experience fraught with uncertainty and concern about the future, specifically your future and possibly your family's future. The state's stringent drug laws mean that even minor infractions can lead to severe penalties. Understanding the intricacies of these laws, the classifications of offenses, potential defenses, and the pivotal role of an experienced criminal defense attorney is essential for anyone navigating this challenging landscape. Drug crimes in Texas encompass a broad spectrum of offenses, each carrying its own set of legal implications. At their core, these crimes involve the unauthorized possession, distribution, manufacture, or trafficking of controlled substances. The severity of charges and corresponding penalties hinge on various factors, including the type and quantity of the drug, the intent behind the possession, and the presence of any prior convictions. So what constitutes a drug crime in Texas? Houston, being one of the largest cities in Texas and in the United States, witnesses a significant number of drug-related arrests annually. The most frequently charged drug crimes in the area include possession of controlled substances. This involves having illegal drugs without the required or requisite authorization. Possession with intent to distribute, holding quantities of drugs that suggest an intention to sell or distribute. Drug manufacturing, engaging in the production or cultivation of illegal substances. Drug trafficking, the transportation and distribution of large quantities of controlled substances. Texas law categorizes drug offenses based on the nature and severity of the crime. These classifications are pivotal in determining the potential penalties individual might face. Misdemeanors typically involve lesser amounts of controlled substances and are considered less severe offenses. Felonies encompass more serious offenses such as possession of large quantities, distribution, or manufacturing of drugs. It is important to understand the distinction between these classifications, as it directly impacts the legal strategies employed in defense. For a detailed breakdown of how drug crimes are classified and the associated legal ramifications, check out my post and video on how drug crimes are classified in Texas. Distinguishing between drug crimes and drug trafficking. While the terms drug crime and drug trafficking are often used interchangeably, they represent distinct offenses under Texas law. Drug crimes is a broad term encompassing various offenses related to controlled substances, including possession, use, and minor distribution. Drug trafficking specifically pertains to the large-scale distribution and sale of controlled substances, often crossing state or national borders. The penalties for drug trafficking are notably more severe, reflecting the gravity of the offense as perceived by the legislature. For an in-depth analysis of the differences between these charges and their legal implications, check out my post and video, Drug Crime versus Drug Trafficking, What's the Difference? Understanding controlled substances in Texas. The term controlled substance refers to drugs that are regulated by law due to their potential for abuse and addiction. Texas classifies these substances into different schedules based on factors like medical use, potential for abuse, and safety. Schedule 1 are drugs with no accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse, for example, cocaine or heroin. Schedule 2 are substances with accepted medical uses, but also a very high potential for abuse. Schedule 3 through 5 drugs are those with decreasing potential for abuse and increasing accepted medical uses. Familiarity with these classifications is vital as they influence both the charges brought against an individual and the defense strategies that may be employed. For a comprehensive explanation of drug schedules and their significance, refer to What is a Controlled Substance in Texas, both that video and post. Navigating drug possession charges in Texas. Drug possession is one of the most common charges individuals face in Texas. The specifics of the charge can vary based on factors such as the type and amount of the drug, the location of the arrest, and the individual's prior criminal history. Understanding the thresholds for possession and the associated legal implications is crucial for mounting an effective defense. Constructive possession. Can you be charged without drugs on you? It's a common misconception that one must be caught with drugs physically on their person to face possession charges. In Texas, the concept of constructive possession allows individuals to be charged even if the drugs are not directly on them. This can occur if the individual had knowledge of the presence of the drugs, they had control or dominion over the area where the drugs were found, such as in their vehicle or residence. Understanding this concept is vital as it broadens the scope of situations where one might face possession charges. Being accused of a drug crime can be a daunting experience, but taking prompt and informed actions can significantly impact the outcome. Exercise your right to remain silent. Avoid self-incrimination by refusing to speak with police or investigators without a lawyer present. You may think that you're helping your case by potentially explaining something, but generally this just is used against you. Seek legal representation. Engage a qualified criminal defense attorney experienced in Texas drug laws. Avoid social media activity. Do not post, comment, or share any information online related to your arrest or your case. Prosecutors and law enforcement monitor public posts and may use them against you. Preserve evidence and documentation. You certainly cannot destroy any evidence, but it may be important to write certain things down. If there are any witnesses, video footage, or messages relevant to your arrest, it's worth your while to gather and safeguard that information immediately. If you have any doubts, contact an experienced criminal defense attorney. Do not skip your court dates or deadlines. Missing a court appearance or ignoring a legal deadline can lead to a warrant for your arrest or additional charges. These tips and steps are not just suggestions. They're your first line of defense. For a complete guide to protecting yourself in the first hours or days of a drug charge, see my post on what to do if you're accused of a drug crime. Prescription drugs treated the same as illegal drugs. Many Texans assume that if a drug came from a pharmacy, the legal consequences are less serious. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Texas law treats unauthorized possession of prescription drugs like opioids, benzodiazepines, and stimulants just as seriously as street drugs like heroin or methamphetamine, especially if the arrest occurs near a school zone or involves large quantities. Common scenarios that lead to criminal charges include carrying medication prescribed to someone else when an exception doesn't apply. For example, if you're a parent, you're allowed to pick up your child's medication when they live in the same house. Forging or altering prescriptions, selling or sharing your prescribed medication. These are all ways that you can get in trouble in Texas. If convicted, you could face the same felony level punishment as someone caught with Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 narcotics. To learn how to stay out of trouble and what to do if you're facing charges involving prescription medication, read the post, Are Prescription Drugs Treated the Same as Illicit Drugs? So how can a criminal defense attorney help in drug cases? Let's be real. There is no DIY version of beating a drug charge in Texas that I recommend. The prosecution has a full arsenal of resources, and they're looking to convict if they believe they have the evidence against you. That's why hiring a skilled criminal defense attorney early on is not just helpful, it's essential. A seasoned lawyer will investigate and challenge the evidence, from the legality of the search to potentially the lab results. They can expose law enforcement mistakes or procedural errors. They can help you negotiate favorable outcomes such as pretrial diversion or reduced charges. They can protect your rights at every stage, from arraignment to trial. They can advocate for dismissal or acquittal when the facts and law support it. Texas drug laws are harsh, and the consequences of a conviction can follow you for life. Loss of your license, job, reputation, freedom, and even child custody. Whether you're facing a first-time possession charge or a serious trafficking accusation, the legal system is not designed to go easy on you. But here's the good news. A strong, strategic defense can change everything. Early intervention by the right attorney can result in reduced penalties or even full case dismissal. Remember, every case is unique. If you or someone you love has been accused of a drug crime, don't wait. You need an experienced, relentless criminal defense lawyer near you who knows how prosecutors think and knows how to beat them.